Good to see some friendly faces out here. My name is Matt Pichelli. I'm with Rubrik. Been with the company for 6 years now, and I've had the pleasure of working on some of the new security product launches and the M&A, the acquisitions that we've made. I'm excited to share something that we've been working on for quite some time, which is data security posture management and the ability to understand your data landscape across not just AWS, but also multi-cloud, SaaS, and on-prem. We're going to talk today about that. Have about 10 minutes of content. We'll try to keep this interactive. If you have questions or want to make a comment, feel free to just raise your hand. We have mics here. We can give you guys a mic. You can feel free to ask away, and hopefully get you out of here before the 20 minutes are up. So thanks for coming by. Let's jump into it. So from a Rubrik perspective, we're seeing this trend, and I'm sure this is not news to anybody in the audience, but ransomware victims have just continued to increase every year, right? It seems like more and more we're seeing high profile type attacks that are, quite frankly, catastrophic to certain industries, healthcare, in various other industries. And then we're also seeing that cybersecurity spending continues to increase dramatically. And when you add those two things up, it's like we continue to make investments, and boards, CFOs are asking their security leaders, there has to be a better way. If I continue to make more investments in this space, are we going to get hit again? And are we guaranteeing ourselves the ability to be resilient in an attack? And so, speaking of boards, these are questions that a lot of them are questions that they're getting asked by asking their security leaders. And Steve Schmidt, Amazon CSO, actually, we pulled these from an article that he wrote in Fortune magazine. And 4 of the 6 questions that he said every board should be asking their security leaders were really pertinent to our discussion today. And these 4 are pretty cool. So the first is, where's our data? What's critical? What's sensitive? Where is it? Who's accessing that data? Should they have access? Are we protecting it? Is it backed up? Could we recover it if we're hit by ransomware or there's some type of attack? And speaking of an attack, what are we doing? What's the plan? What do I do as a board member? What are you and your team going to do? Have we practiced it? Great questions to ask. Honestly, very difficult. If you ask a security leader those questions, answering that with confidence is pretty difficult. And the reason why is that data is growing at an alarming rate. Attackers are simply just logging in now, right? So it's difficult to know if an identity's been compromised, is this legitimate or not, activity that's happening with your data. Organizations are still quite hybrid still. Even though most of us want to get to AWS and be a full cloud shop, there's still legacy systems that might be deployed. Think AS400, SQL Server, Oracle, etc. on-prem. The regulatory landscape is not slowing. And now, as we know with SEC, executives can be held personally liable if they don't disclose a material cybersecurity incident within 4 days. So now the stakes are high. So boards are really leaning into this and asking those questions. And as we ask our customers, hey, we know these are hard to answer, but what's really top of mind from specific areas that maybe you might want to make improvements in? These are 6 that we're hearing, challenges that we're hearing almost every day. And we're hearing a lot more around AI because boards and employees are asking security leaders and IT leaders, hey, I want to bring AI into the workspace, whether it's going to make me work faster, I'm going to get the ability to get my job done easier, or I'm using other tools that leverage AI and I want to start using them internally just to make my life easier. One of the biggest things that I'm hearing from pretty much everybody in the space is lack of visibility. How do I know what I have across my entire estate from a data perspective? How much data, what type of data, where is it, who has access, who is accessing, all that type of stuff. It's very difficult. So that's the sort of the problem landscape that I think we're all facing today. And here's how Rubrik can help. The first thing that we can do out of the box is provide that visibility. And I mentioned across the estate, meaning on-prem, within AWS, other clouds, within SaaS workloads, things like Snowflake, Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, list goes on. Pretty much anything you might be using from a SaaS workload perspective. And once you understand what type of data you have, what assets is that data stored in? What's the configuration on that asset? Do we acquire a company that might not be technically savvy, that has a bucket that's publicly exposed that contains PII or PHI? Right? Simple stuff like that, that maybe we didn't have any visibility into it. And having that, that's literally like a 5-second fix, could dramatically improve the posture of your data. So that's step one. Step two is who's accessing it? Who has access to it, rather? So understanding the permissions, looking at, has something been over-permissioned? Have we shared a link with maybe a third party that we work with? That contract no longer exists, but they still have access to this data. Simple things like that that can compromise a potential data asset. And then looking at the activity of the user. I mentioned this earlier. People have been compromised all the time. The majority of attacks that are happening in the cloud intrusions are 91%, in fact, are driven by somebody's compromised credentials. So the likelihood of data being accessed by a threat adversary through a compromised credential is extremely high. How do you detect that, though? And we have the ability to do that, looking for toxic combinations of things like, this CFO has access to this data as she should, but she's accessing it at 3 a.m. in the morning from an IP address that we don't recognize, from a browser that's unsupported, and excessively downloading hundreds, if not thousands, of documents. Abnormal behavior, most likely a threat adversary trying to do damage and exfiltrate data. Stop it at the data layer before that data is even trying to traverse your network and leave your network, leave your estate. So we have the ability to do that. And what's really cool, if you don't know Rubrik, we got our start as cyber recovery, backup and recovery. So the ability to protect your data and the guarantee to recover it if you're hit by ransomware. And we have this for AWS to support your IaaS, PaaS workloads in AWS. And when you look to Rubrik to protect it, based on our architecture, in almost every time that we do this, we're deploying it at a significant total ROI, so return on your investment, over using cloud-native tools or other systems. On average, it's about 20%. And so when we layer in these additional security capabilities and back it up, we can do it where the security capabilities essentially pay for themselves, so it's cost neutral. And now you have the ability to protect against double extortion, which is the destruction through encryption or deletion of your production data sets, test QA. If you don't have Rubrik, your backups can be compromised. And then prevention of exfiltration of the data. It's a very common TTP that we're seeing threat adversaries leverage, double extortion. Now you have the capabilities to protect your organization from those threats. And that's really what sets us apart. We're really the only vendor that combines those two into a single platform, providing you with cyber posture, those DSPM capabilities, data security posture management capabilities, and the recovery, the backup and recovery capabilities. Two cool things that you get, as well as being a Rubrik customer, is a warranty. We feel so strongly about our story. We support up to $10 million warranty. If we can't recover your data in a ransomware attack, we'll pay that out. We've never paid it out. We never plan to pay it out. Sadly, almost 1,000 Rubrik customers have been hit by ransomware. Every single one is fully recovered. And we have a ransomware response team that supports every customer, 24/7, 365. If you're hit, you have a dedicated team to support your incident responders, your teams to help fully recover. We'll leave when you tell us to leave. So it's just an additional service to help you get back to business. With the goal of ransomware attacks being like a speed bump versus a catastrophic crash, right? We want you to get back to business and operate as quickly and efficiently as you can. Done it over 6,000 customers and growing. Here's three I'd like to share with you today. Pagaya, they're a fintech company. They chose us to protect AWS, but also other cloud and PaaS platforms. Being fintech, their customers are the largest banks in the world, over 70 petabytes of data deployed that they needed to introspect and understand who has access to it. One of the use cases here was, I want to identify credit cards, I want to identify banking information and things like Snowflake, and I want to auto-mask. I want to have the ability to encrypt that data once you've found it. So taking that step to actually take action in the data set to further protect that data once it's found. Because per policy, that data needs to be masked. As developers work with it, it could be our banking information, and that data cannot be exposed. Great ways that we can help protect that. ICE, you might know them for New York Stock Exchange. Rubrik recently went public on the New York Stock Exchange. That might have helped. But they're a customer nonetheless, and their use case was interesting. ICE acquires company. We know the brand NYSE, but they also acquire mortgage companies or other types of financial services organizations. When they're acquired, they might be on a different cloud than they're used to on AWS. So how do they get quick expertise and visibility into something like GCP? Leveraging Rubrik, we provide that insight. So they know when they acquire a company, what's in the estate, who has access to it, should we care about this data, should we delete it, archive it, protect it? Having that immediate visibility into that environment is key. We provide that for ICE. And then WalkMe is just another example. They're a tech company as well, but they provide multi-petabyte, 100 petabyte plus scale. So the ability to introspect and have this information is not just hey, we might be able to do it on a couple terabytes and good luck. It's everything in your estate. We'll auto-discover, tell you all of it, provide that heat map so you know exactly where to focus your time and attention to focus in on. 100 petabytes is a ton of data. But having that visibility, and it's really just these 20 terabytes of data across these most mission-critical environments, focus your time there, protect it, secure it. That's a type of visibility that's super important. So hopefully that gave you some context of areas that we help our various customers. And the last thing I'm going to leave with you here is just talked about it, but this return on investment, reducing your total cost of ownership. One of the biggest questions, and there was one up here before, is that boards are also asking, how do we get more value out of the investments that we're making in these security investments? And one way that we can do that is to consolidate some of these point solutions by leveraging best of breed from Rubrik and still get significant cost savings. I brought up that the way that we do backup and recovery, cloud SaaS and on-prem, is way more efficient than many other technologies out there, so you'll get just immediate return on investment there. But then also, when you're leveraging DSPM, we found multiple customers have found data that's being backed up, that's in mission-critical production Tier 1 workloads. That doesn't have to be. It might be a snapshot that they took, and it's sitting there in production, and then they're backing it up. Like you're backing up a backup. You've been doing that for years. Delete that data, and you'll get an ROI from that. So just that simple visibility can really create a simple way to justify buying this. And then when you're hit by ransomware, having a tool set purpose-built to get you fully recovered and provide all that insights to your security and IT operators and your incident response teams reduces downtime. So there's another massive ROI when you're hit by ransomware. Instead of being down for 30 days plus, you might be down for a few days. And getting back to business in less than a week makes a massive difference after a massive type of ransomware attack. So hopefully that gave you something to think about, folks. If this interested you at all and you have questions, we can certainly answer some here. But if you have something that may be specific to your use case and you want to chat with us, we're literally right over here to your left in booth 301. We do demos, one-on-one talks, whatever makes sense for you guys. We're here to help you. And that's it. That's all I got for you. Thanks for stopping by.